So don't go anywhere, because if you really want to excel with digital advertising and truly understand all your data, you simply have to understand the attribution models and the bias that platforms like GA4 will have when it comes to data modeling. So first, we'll explain how Facebook attributes a conversion event, because it does it differently to how Google does it, which is why the data will not always add up. So Facebook has an attribution model which is on a 7-day click or 1-day view. So this means if somebody clicks on one of your Facebook ads and then 6 or 7 days later they make a conversion that you're measuring, it will attribute the sale. And 1-day view simply means if they've seen the Facebook ad, but they haven't clicked, they haven't gone through to your website or anything, but they have seen it, it will record a conversion if they convert within 24 hours. So for example, if somebody sees your Facebook ad, let's say you're selling watches and they see your Facebook ad, they don't go through to your website, but within 24 hours, they Google your company name, they go through to your website and convert, Facebook will still record that sale. Google, on the other hand, used to work on what was called a first touch attribution model, which means it would attribute the sale depending on which platform had the first contact with the buyer or the person who converted. Because these things, I will say sale a lot, but it could also be leads, it could also be brochure downloads or any other conversion metric that you're measuring. And they used to have a look at first touch because they wanted to attribute the conversion to the first person who got that individual's attention. However, today they do it on a last touch basis. And last touch simply means that if somebody's come from, for example, organic SEO, they've come through to your website, they've bounced off, the remarketing picks them up, they hit Facebook and they see a Facebook ad, they come back into your website, they bounce off again, they go and do a load of research, and then they hit a Google ad and they come back in through a Google ad and they make the sale. Then, could be even a month later, it will assign that sale in its entirety, or GA4 will assign that sale in its entirety to the Google ad, despite the fact that SEO and Facebook ads have had a lot to do with nurturing that individual towards a sale. So I'm going to give you 2 live examples of real life attribution problems that you could have with GA4 and Facebook ads. If you don't want to see those, then just go into the description and click the hyperlinks and get into the next bit. So I've got a few examples that are going to try and really articulate how GA4 and Facebook ads will actually attribute the sale, because they will do it differently. So let's say somebody comes in organically to your website. So they Google for what it is you do, you come up on page 1 of Google and they go through to your website. Facebook retargeting then hits them, they click, and it's 2 days later and they come back to the site. 3 days later, they conduct some competitor analysis when they've got their day off and they're looking at your reviews, doing all of this research, and during that competitor analysis, they see a Google ad for your product. And they click and then they buy. Who does GA4 attribute that sale to? Well, the answer is Google Ads. It attributes the entirety of that sale to Google Ads. However, Meta will also claim the credit for that sale, but that won't be reflected in Google Ads. Now, Meta will correctly attribute that sale because it had a lot to do with it. It's been picked up on the retargeting, it's brought somebody back into your website, and it's kickstarted that review process. So who's really responsible for the sale? The reality is that it's a team effort. Okay, one last one, we'll just do one more. Somebody sees your Facebook ad, they click on it and they go through to your website. They don't buy then and there, because actually if somebody just seeing an ad, clicking on it and buying is quite rare. 2 days later, they see a Google ad that's from a remarketing campaign and they still don't buy. They click, but they still don't buy. He starts to follow your content on Meta organically and he checks out all of your reviews across multiple platforms. They go back to your website by directly entering your URL into their browser and makes a purchase 8 days later after clicking on your Facebook ad. Who gets the sales attribution? Well, on GA4, it will attribute it to direct traffic only. Facebook will have no attribution at all because the sale happened 8 days after they initially clicked on your ad. So it feels a little bit unfair to Facebook because without the click on that initial ad, they just weren't going to end up transacting at all. But if it doesn't happen within that 7-day window, there'll be no attribution on Facebook. So because of the different attribution models used by GA4 and Meta ads, GA4 will always underreport sales and conversions from Meta, regardless of how you set it up. Now, the sales that it does attribute are likely to have a really simple customer journey, such as your client literally sees your ad, clicks on it, goes to your website, and they buy immediately. In most other scenarios, it's likely that GA4 will attribute the sale to other channels. So how can you really know if Facebook ads are working? You can check my video here that's all about Facebook performance analysis with Facebook ads. But to summarize here, you're going to have to look at a few different data sources, such as what Meta is telling you, what GA4 is telling you, and most importantly, what the company revenue is telling you. For example, with our client here who went from £435,000 to £615,000 revenue over their summer period with just £12,000 investment in Facebook ads. Now, this was the only marketing channel they were running, so it's a little bit more simple for them to understand exactly the impact that the Facebook ads had made compared to the previous year when they did none. But you're gonna have to take a really holistic view and really understand your data. So I hope that helps, guys. We're Jamie Stenton from Lilac James, a specialist digital marketing agency that do Google ads, Facebook ads, and SEO. And do subscribe, and we'll see you next time.